Esther chapter 9. And in the 12th new moon, that is, the new moon of Adar, on the 13th day, when the sovereign's command and his decree came to be done, on the day that the enemies of the Yehudim had waited to overpower them, it turned around, so that the Yehudim overpowered those who hated them. The Yehudim assembled in their cities, throughout all the provinces of sovereign Ahasuerus, to lay hands on those who sought their evil, and no one stood against them, because fear of them fell upon all people. And all the officials of the provinces, and the viceroys, and the governors, and all those doing the sovereign's work, helped the Yehudim, because the fear of Mordechai fell upon them. For Mordechai was great in the palace of the sovereign, and his report spread into all the provinces, for this man Mordechai became greater and greater. And the Yehudim struck all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, with killing and destruction, and did what they pleased to those who hated them. And in the citadel of Shushan the Yehudim killed and destroyed 500 men, and Parshandatha, and Dalphon, and Aspatha, and Poratha, and Adalia, and Aridatha, and Parmashta, and Arisai, and Aredai, and Wayezatha, the 10 sons of Haman son of Hamadetha, the enemy of the Yehudim, they killed, but they did not lay a hand on the plunder. On that day the number of those who were killed in the citadel of Shushan came before the sovereign, and the sovereign said to Sovereigness Esther, the Yehudim have killed and destroyed 500 men in the citadel of Shushan, and the 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the sovereign's provinces? And what is your petition? And it is given to you. And what is your further request? And it is done. And Esther said, if it pleases the sovereign, let it be given to the Yehudim who are in Shushan to do again tomorrow, according to today's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged on the wooden structure. And the sovereign commanded this to be done. And the decree was given in Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. And the Yehudim who were in Shushan also assembled on the 14th day of the new moon of Adar, and they killed 300 men at Shushan, but they did not lay a hand on the plunder. And the rest of the Yehudim in the sovereign's provinces assembled and stood for their lives, and to get rest from their enemies, and to kill 75,000 of their enemies, but they did not lay a hand on the plunder. That was on the 13th day of the new moon of Adar, and on the 14th they rested in it, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Yehudim who were at Shushan assembled on the 13th day as well as on the 14th day, and on the 15th they rested in it, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Yehudim of the villages who dwelt in the unwalled towns were making the 14th day of the new moon of Adar a good day of gladness and feasting, and for sending portions to one another. And Mordechai wrote these matters and sent letters to all the Yehudim who were in all the provinces of sovereign Ahasuerus, both near and far, to establish among them to perform the 14th and 15th days of the new moon of Adar yearly, as the days on which the Yehudim had rest from their enemies, as the new moon which was turned from sorrow to joy for them, and from mourning to a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, of sending portions to one another, and gifts to the poor. And the Yehudim undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordechai had written to them, because Haman, son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the adversary of all the Yehudim, had plotted against the Yehudim to destroy them, and had cast Pur, that is, the lot, to crush them and to destroy them. But when she came before the sovereign, he commanded by letter that his evil plot, which Haman had plotted against the Yehudim, should return on his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the wooden structure. Therefore they called these days Purim, after the name Pur. Therefore, because of all the words of this letter, what they had seen concerning this matter, and what had come upon them, the Yehudim established and imposed it upon themselves, and upon their seed, and all who should join them, that without fail they should perform these 2 days every year, according to their writing, and at their appointed time, and that these days should be remembered and performed throughout every generation, every clan, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Yehudim, and that the remembrance of them should not cease from their seed. And Sovereigness Esther, the daughter of Abichaim, with Mordechai the Yehudi, wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter about Purim. And Mordechai sent letters to all the Yehudim, to the 127 provinces of the reign of Achashverosh, words of peace and truth, to establish these days of Purim at their appointed times, as Mordechai the Yehudi and Sovereigness Esther had established for them, and as they had established for themselves and their seed concerning matters of their fastings and lamenting. And the decree of Esther established these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book.